Hola estudiantes, en este video voy a introducir el vocabulario nuevo de Unidad 4, Lección 1 del libro Avancemos. Recuerdan, todo el vocabulario está en página 217. You have your vocabulary list, but you may also log on to our online textbook to take advantage of some of the practice activities. In this particular video, nuestras metas, our goals, will be to describe continuing activities in the past. We're also going to talk about legends. Legends are stories from the past that many people believe to be true, but can't necessarily be proven to be true. So this is going to help us practice our past tense. We're going to narrate past events and activities using the vocab from this video. We will also describe people, places, and things as the characters and the settings and the events within the legends. Las leyendas. Leyendas, like I mentioned, are stories of the past, so there are many of them. One that's really particular to the Spanish culture is La Leyenda de la Llorona. La Llorona is a very, very famous Mexican legend. We're first going to look at the different personajes or characters that could be within a legend. El Dios or La Diosa, so gods. El Ejército, ejército significa army. El Emperador is the emperor. So a legend you might know from your past is the emperor's new clothes. El Enemigo or La Enemiga. So we know amigo is friend and enemigo would be an enemy. El Guerrero or La Guerrera, a warrior. El Héroe significa hero. So this is the masculine form. Remember, if I'm talking about a hero and our hero happens to be una mujer, we would say la heroína. La heroína is the heroine, the female hero. El joven or la joven. So I'm talking about the young person. Often in these, we often have a young character as the hero or heroine. La princesa. Many of our legends deal with princesses and princes. So la princesa significa princess. El príncipe significa prince. Los lugares. We're going to talk about some lugares. These are places, so the settings that our stories might take place in. La montaña, or las montañas, to make it plural. El palacio is a palace or a castle. El volcán significa volcano. Eventos. In the stories, there are many events, so tenemos la batalla. La batalla significa battle. La guerra is the war, so we have many battles within a war. Casarse. We might have our characters get married as part of our legend. So casarse significa to get married. Contar significa to tell. Un cuento is the word for story. So often stories started off before we had paper, pencil, writing. Often our stories started off orally, so they were spoken word. Llevar tiene muchos significados. Llevar could be to wear. In this particular case, we're using it as to carry or to bring. So la chica lleva su mochila. She brings or she carries her backpack. Llorar significa to cry. Morir. Often in our stories, we might have some death take part in the story. Morir is an O-to-U-E stem changer. You might be familiar with the show 1000 Ways to Die. Pelear significa to fight, so there might be not a battle, but just a fight amongst the characters. Regresar significa to return, so maybe that somebody was in the story in the beginning and they return at some point in time. Transformar significa to transform or to change. We know Transformers, ¿verdad? All right, and parts of the legend. We know La Leyenda is the overall story, the legend. El mensaje The cognate of this would be the message, but we know in a story, often the message is a lesson, or we could say it's a moral of the story, something that we learn after reading the story. It's kind of a message or moral. La narración is the narration or the telling of it, so whoever is giving the voice to the story. El personaje would be the character. So we know on South Park we have several different characters, and we have the narrator who does the different voices. Descripciones. Many of our stories, we would describe them what they're coming from. So we might have stories that relate to historical culture. So like Azteca would be a legend that has to do with the Aztec culture. Estar enamorado or estar enamorada de. This is to be in love with. So often in our story we have themes of amor, love. Hermoso or hermosa, often we use this to describe something as handsome or pretty. It also is the word for beautiful. So aquí tengo un pájaro hermoso. Heroico, perdón, no puedo hablar. Heroica is heroic, so somebody who is a hero. Histórico, histórica, this would be historic or historical. So the context is based on some kind of history. It might be Greek history, it might be a certain historical setting, etc. Querido, querida, this is the word for beloved. So here I have, querido viernes, te extrañaba desde el lunes. So it's beloved Friday, we all love Fridays. Te extrañaba desde el lunes. I've missed you since Monday, beloved. Los celos is jealousy, so to be jealous of someone else. Tener celos is the expression for to be jealous. Valiente, this is a cognate to valiant. We know this more commonly as brave. Y finalmente, we have some key phrases to help us narrate events in the past. Había una vez, this is the one we're probably most familiar with. This is once upon a time, or once upon a time there was, or there were, such and such. Hace muchos siglos, I might say many centuries ago, at the beginning of my story. Y finalmente, last but not least, I have sobre. Sobre is the word for about. So what is your leyenda about? What is the main idea? What is the story about? Excelente, chicos. Gracias por ver. Vamos a hacer la práctica después. So thank you for watching. Please make sure you do your practice activity to review this vocabulary before we take our next quiz. Muchas gracias. Adiós.